TJ Chandler is currently the Managing Director for the APAC region of Fivetran, including India. First company at the age of 10 and later built a software as a service company which he ran for 8 years. We at Analytics Insight are thrilled to hear from him about the latest Metadata API of Fivetran. For today's interview, we have with us TJ Chandler, Managing Director APAC Fivetran. Welcome, TJ, to Analytics Insight. It's great to have you here.
Thank you for the invitation, Satavisa. It's wonderful to be here in amazing India.
Thank you. Now, can you please give us a little brief about this recent metadata API that you people have come up with?
Sure. Thank you for asking. It is one of many recent innovations that we've launched, and maybe a little context about what our product does in order to understand how it fits in. Fundamentally, we're about automating data movement. And so just like changing from a manual transmission car into a fully self-driving automated vehicle, then there's a lot of things that need to be innovated. And so while we've made it easy, it makes it also less transparent to, say, the mechanic of an auto. And as a result, one of the challenges that some of our enterprise customers have faced is they want to know exactly what's happening in that black box. As data moves in and then comes out, we do a lot of complex things with it, and they need to be able to audit that for complete accountability and to understand what's in there and how it works. And so we've recently launched what we call our Metadata API, or Application Program Interface, whereby the data about the data is able to be transmitted to authorities, whether it's for regulatory audits or just for transparency. It also helps for data governance, so that that data can be exported into tools like Alation or Calibra or others that help to track the lineage of where the data came from, who created it, how long it's been around, and what else it's related to.
That sounds really interesting. Now, can you please tell us about your contribution in the cloud data movement in India?
Sure. Well, there's several things about that. There's cloud data movement, there's India, and then there's our contribution. I would say that everyone knows that the cloud is all about removing limitations. It's about removing those constraints that we're tied to when it's on-premise or just within our control. And we give up a little bit of that control in order to have the massive scalability. And about 10 years ago, Hadoop and then Redshift were able to free us from the constraints of small on-premise databases, and we were able to put massive parallel processing happening on the cloud. So Fivetran has been able to participate in that by enabling a whole new way of extracting, transforming, and loading data. We actually extract it and then load it into the data warehouse so that transformations can happen closer to the end user. So in India, of course, India has been a technology leader for a long time and is now very publicly declaring that we're digital first here, and that this is the planning for the next decade is to make us more resilient, more scalable, and removing all of those constraints. And so Fivetran is eager to take part in that. We already are with over 50 customers here in India, from supply chain to fintech and edutech, really across all the industries here in India, and we're helping to remove those constraints.
Well, that sounds really amazing, but I'm really interested to know that is how Indian data technology market is treating you people.
Sure. Well, of course, it is well known that India, post-COVID, has been among the fastest growing economies in the world. COVID definitely had impacts personally, economically, and in every way. In India, the country has been quite resilient and able to bounce back, and in fact come out in some ways stronger. It's encouraged a form of optimization where every business is looking to see how we can not just grow fast, but to grow smart and to grow better. And so I think that at the macroeconomic level, we know that the economy has affected Fivetran as well. It's affected some of us personally, and the company in terms of how we do our business. But as importantly is how is Fivetran affecting the economy? we're actually helping to enable that optimization, to help supply chains become optimized, to help digital experiences become more personalized, and to generally give more access to the critical data needed by decision makers. Another macro change has been the number and variety and complexity of data sources that are available to us. Just even 10 years ago, SaaS applications were only becoming available. Now there are literally tens of thousands. There are hundreds of thousands of startups right here in India that are creating innovative products that are data-based. They're either creating data, using data, or in most cases, both. So data is everywhere, and it is accelerating in its complexity and its availability. On the other side of that equation are those who are using data. And 10, 15, certainly 20 years ago, the consumers of data were largely executives who wanted reports on a quarterly, monthly, even a daily basis. But those reports were operational and very well structured. Today, everyone is a knowledge worker. Everyone in the organization needs to know what's going on and how to do their job. They look at dashboards, they look at reports on a daily, hourly, even minute-to-minute basis. And so that sophistication and breadth of data users is also increasing. And so what Fivetran is able to do is help companies to ingest that ever-increasing number and complexity of data sources so that they can be utilized, processed, and to make better decisions for the end business users.
Well, thanks for explaining that so well to me. Now, I want to know about your view that if we come to talk about enterprises, how do we think that combining a culture of data with modern data stacks will help these enterprises to going for like more success?
Exactly. Well, as I was just saying, companies have been both threatened by COVID and the economic downturn, but also energized and challenged and pushed to become even better. We know that the average company spends about $500,000 USD just paying data engineers to manage and maintain and build data pipelines. This is an efficiency and optimization that Fivetran can help deliver. We also know that data scientists, so it's kind of a new term. A data scientist is someone who has hypotheses about data and goes just like any other scientist and then wants to experiment. Well, a scientist needs a subject to experiment on, right? If they're going to be testing water, or you have a hypothesis about water, they need water to actually test. A data scientist needs what? Data, absolute lots and lots of data. So all of the wonderful, innovative, exciting technologies and opportunities to move the economy forward as a whole, but also individual businesses, look for machine learning, artificial intelligence, predictive analytics. These are the sciences and the disciplines that are driving businesses forward now. And in order to make that happen, they need data, to be constantly fed with data that is secure, that is reliable, that is high volumes and high velocity. And so that's, again, what Fivetran does through automated work streams. We have over 200 data connectors that are just naturally attached to those SaaS connectors. We handle files, events, and certainly databases. We've recently been able to launch what we call our high volume agent connectors, which take care of some of the largest and most complex databases in the world, Oracle, SAP, SQL Server, and be able to process those at extremely high volumes at a very rapid rate, which not only gives those end users insights for their decisions faster, but it starts feeding those machine learning and AI models so that they can start doing the science, proving or disproving hypotheses, so we can really advance into that next decade as we're trying to do here in India.
Well, that seems like you people are doing a great job. And I'm very curious to know about Fivetran's data integration tool and how it is simplifying the process of accessing data for the users.
Thanks for the question. And we've already talked about a couple of those components. One is to fundamentally change the way of thinking about how data moves from source transactional systems, which are usually in relational forms, into a dimensional schema or a reporting type of database where high volumes of data can be queried very rapidly. And this was it was enabled by that mass parallel processing, initially by Redshift and Hadoop, but now Databricks, BigQuery, and certainly Snowflake are optimizing that and demonstrating that this can be done at scale. And so by shifting the whole paradigm about how data moves, that's fundamentally what got Fivetran started. Beyond that, we've turned that into a managed service. I mentioned that $500,000 is spent on data engineers, and just changing the order of operations, sometimes you still need those data engineers because pipelines are going to get brittle. The schemas on the source side, the way data is arranged, those sometimes change. And if that changes and you've already built a script, that script will then break. Or if the business users have a new requirement and they want a different kind of data or a new source of data that then needs to be combined and consolidated with everything that they already have, you've got to rewrite that script because it's going to break. So changing the order of operations was critical, but turning it into a managed service is what really allows companies to operate at scale. Fivetran has 300 engineers that all they do is watch those pipelines and make sure that if there's any problem, to use our own machine learning and artificial intelligence to detect any breakages or any performance issues, and then to go correct those so that individual companies don't have to pay data engineers to wake up at 4 o'clock every morning, make sure the pipelines are running and that the reports are going to be delivered on time. Fivetran actually has a service level agreement, an SLA, not just for system uptime, but for data delivery. We're so confident in our managed service that we're willing to guarantee that every row will be delivered and accounted for. And so we've got a number of technological features that work under the hood in that black box that I described that are very, very clever and innovative. And that's what's made us the market leader in the space.
That sounds amazing. Now, lastly, I want to ask you, what kind of future expansion plans do you have for India? And what kind of opportunities are you going to bring for like the next generation tech talent?
Thanks for the question. Of course, that's very dear to my heart. I, of course, manage the entire Asia-Pacific region on behalf of Fivetran. It's been my privilege and pleasure to grow that team from zero 2.5 years ago to almost 50 now. And we've been very intentional about our growth. We aren't one of those companies that just wants to grow at all costs. And so we're going to just hire a bunch of people in Asia Pacific or India, just so we can say that we have a presence there, or try and get customers quickly, but then not be able to support them. So one of the critical parts of my job is not just to find and hire and develop the best talent, but to balance that talent so that we have the right amount of people that are generating new business, that are portraying the business value to our customers, but also are there to support them so that we have referenceable customers and build up our reputation. And I've been working in this region long enough to know that reputation is everything. And we simply can't go in and try and get a quick sell and then hope that things go well. We need to be confident that this is a sustainable business. So for India in particular, we have about 200 very talented engineers already in Bangalore. They support our global organization through both engineering and customer support. So tech support, we have a follow the sun model, and we've chosen Bangalore as our center of operations for that. So really India, as is common, is powering the world, is supporting the entire world on our behalf. We've also grown our go-to-market team, which is also known as our sales and support team, our customer-facing team, by 5x just in the last year. And now still a relatively small team, but very talented and keen. And they're located in several, both Bangalore as well as Mumbai and a couple other areas. We have a hybrid work environment. So although we do have a physical office in Bangalore, we allow people to work from home or wherever they're going to become most effective. And so our future expansion plans are to continue growing at a rate that ensures our customer success and therefore our reputation, so we can have a sustainable business. Make no mistake, we're here in India for the long term. We see this as our largest growth area, certainly by percentage. We've already made some good progress. But as I look at the APAC region, India is where I'm quite confident we'll see our largest growth this year and in the years to come.
That sounds amazing. I'm sure this is definitely going to help all of our listeners too. Thank you, TJ, for coming with us today in this interview. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Satavisa. The pleasure has been mine.